In this video I'm going to show you how to make the sticky lining for our costumes, and we're going to need a sheet, a non-stick sheet, which in this case is a silicone sheet, just some silicone poured on a flat surface. So I didn't make this one, but a friend of mine did, and he just poured some silicone in a tray, in a metal tray, and let it cure, and then when you pull it off you have this very even surface silicone sheet, which has a lot of good uses. So that's just as a side note. But in this case we're going to make some lining, and we need this to be non-stick because we want to add up some layers of glue on it and then apply the fabric on top of it, and then we have to be able to pull it off the silicone sheet so that we can use it, and that's what this does. Yeah, so in this case I'm using Pros-Aide glue. It's like a theatrical glue used to glue prosthetics to skin, and it's non-toxic. It's fantastic because it's transparent, it's liquid, and it will just fill in little gaps if there are any. It has a really nice drape to it, if I can say it like that. So what that means, it prevents fabric to crinkle because it has this kind of chunky elasticity, and it just sticks very nicely. So that's why we use it, and yeah, this is how we're gonna make this. So we're gonna use this Pros-Aide glue, and then I have a broad brush that we need to brush it on there, and we're gonna apply 3 layers of this. The layers have to dry in between, and I'm gonna do this with a hairdryer. So I'm gonna start it, and I just brush one first thin layer on the silicone sheet, and you want to use a brush that doesn't lose the hair. So this is like a I don't even know what it is. It's very cheap brush, but that's good in this case. And before brushing the Pros-Aide on, you want to clean the sheet with alcohol, because especially when you have light fabrics, there's always dust collecting, and that will show in your costume on the other side. So the cleaner you can keep that sheet, the better. And then you just create this even layer of Pros-Aide on there. Take off everything that's like too much. And then, so what I like to do is when I have my brush like this and I just put it to the side, it will already dry out. So what I usually do is I have this plastic bag, and I just put my brush in there so that it doesn't dry for the time hair drying. And I'm gonna get my hairdryer and dry it, and then I'll be right back. This is all nice and dry now. And I'm gonna apply the second layer of Prizade. Same thing, just go brush it on evenly. And you don't brush it on very thick. Sometimes I do it deliberately more thick if I want to use it in a certain way, or if I need the extra layer glue to kind of stabilize my costume. But just for the general application, it doesn't need to be that thick. So just make it even, like even to the sides, and get rid of all the bumps. The nice side will stick to your fabric. Grab the brush again, close the lid of the glue thing, because that will dry out too. And I'm gonna hair dry it once more. So I dried this for a while. It doesn't really take long, but I dried this for a minute. And what you want to make sure is that it dries transparent all the way through. Like you see these little white spots, that has to be all transparent. And the last round, same thing, just spread it on there. And you can see, like, if you go from layer to layer, like, it gets easier. I don't know why, but it gets kind of easier to spread it on, like easier more to spread it on more evenly. And the whole reason why we do 3 layers is that we found that this is just how it sticks best. There's no real explanation, no scientific explanation. I assume, or that's my explanation that I have, is that for some reason one layer sticks to the fabric, one sticks to the lining, and one sticks the layers together. And of course I don't have any scientific proof, but that's kind of how it feels. Like we came to the conclusion, or like we found that 3 layers is the way to go. So that's the last layer. I'm going to hair dry this once more, and then I show you how to put the lining on there. Okay, so this is all nice and dried, and now we're gonna put this lining fabric on top of it. So that's the silk lining that I used for draping, and it has 2 sides to it. It has a shiny side and it has a matte side. I like to use the matte side because most of the times it doesn't matter really which side. It's just personal preference. But what I found is if you, it's not what I found, but if you have a costume and you look inside of it, so if chances are, like, for, let's say it's a jacket or something that flips up and you see the inside, you want to have a matte surface because this is shiny and that might interfere with the camera. So go for the matte, I would say. The other thing that's cool is you can dye this in all kinds of colors to match your costume. So most of the times I dye it. Yeah. And we just put this on there. And it's tricky. So this has to be done like really carefully, because once it sticks, it sticks. So it's always a pain in the ass a little bit, but one way to help yourself is to fold it in the middle and just place it in the center. And then you see how it kind of just folds open to the side. And then you want to press it on there, but in order to, you see how there's like loose areas? This is going to be creases if we're not careful. So we're going to start in the center and just press this. And then we carefully go from there to the side. And the same with the other side. You see how this kind of creases. So once it's not all the way stuck down, you can always carefully lift it and just take out the, there's a little crease. If there's little creases, you can sometimes even them out, but it's better not to go for them in the first place. So, and then you want to really press it in, like really make it stuck to the layers, especially on the edge. And then you can see how here it's like sticky, and you want to take this off before you pull the sheet off. So you can really use your finger, it's kind of satisfying, and just take it all off. It's like you know, these erasers that you can buy in the art store, they are shapeable, or like you can, yeah, and you make like this sticky bugger, which in itself is a great tool, so you should totally keep it. And you do this with the other side. And like basically all the edges, because that's where it will get stuck, and if you take it off before, then it's easier to pull off that sheet. So this thing, you can really make it into a little ball. And then the good thing about this thing is it will take off dust. So, and it won't stick. Once it's dry, it won't like, at least not in this form, it won't like stain the costume. So if you have a little bit of dust like here, you just take it off. And that's really handy if you have something, if you want to remove some dust on set and you can't really go in there with brushes or whatever dust removal, and you just make a little thing and you can shape it even into like a pointy little thing and just take off the dust piece. But enough of this. We're gonna have to pull this off now, and this is tricky, so we have to pick it on both sides, both ends, and then make sure that you just carefully release the top, or like one edge, and then you have to pull it off kind of evenly. And so if you reach the end, go slow and just like all the way to the end, because if you pull it off too fast, it will bounce up and then stick to itself, and that's just a big mess. So you want to be careful. and you lay it down again. And whoop. Yeah, this can be like dangerous, so just make sure that's really careful. And then you wanna straighten it out again so that it lies nice and flat. And whoop. Nice and flat, and also with the grain line. Okay, this is good. It's just super sticky. I cut a parchment paper sheet in the same size, a little bit bigger, and then I just put it on top of it. And I can stick it on there. And then that way the sticky side is covered, it's all stuck to the parchment paper, and we can use it for lining the costumes.